Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an animal that honestly has got to have one of the worst, most misunderstood reputations in the entire animal kingdom. I mean, when you picture a donkey, you probably aren't picturing majesty or some stoic, hyper-intelligent builder of empires, right? You're probably just picturing a slow, goofy farm animal. But as we're about to see, the actual science and the history tell a wildly different story. You know the phrase, when someone acts silly or makes a dumb mistake, people call them a donkey. We literally use their name as a universal insult for stupidity. But what if we've been entirely wrong this whole time? Well, here is the massive paradigm shift we're going to explore today. Scientists and animal behavior experts actually consider donkeys to be extremely intelligent, strategic problem solvers. The exact traits we mock them for, they're actually signs of a highly evolved brain. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Built for Survival, Evolutionary Biology. So to really get the donkey, you kind of have to look at where they came from. They evolved in these incredibly harsh, totally unforgiving desert environments. And in those barren, rocky landscapes, making one single wrong move or running blindly in a panic could literally mean death. So you know how a donkey famously plants its feet and absolutely refuses to move, earning it that legendary reputation for being stubborn? Well, it's actually stopping to analyze the danger, it's thinking before it acts. That refusal to move isn't stupidity at all. It's a highly effective survival strategy. It gets really interesting when you contrast them directly with horses. Horses are basically built for speed and escape. If they get spooked, their immediate instinct is to panic and bolt, and they rely heavily on what the rest of the herd is doing. Donkeys, on the other hand, are built for survival. They are independent thinkers. When a donkey gets frightened, it freezes so it can calculate the risk. And because of this calm, methodical thinking, a donkey is way less likely to fall off a cliff or break a leg on a treacherous path. In fact, this specific trait makes them so reliable that modern mountain rescue teams all over the world still use them to carry supplies through risky areas where vehicles and even horses completely struggle. Moving on to Section 2, Deep Memory and Emotion, Psychological Complexity. Okay, so they're strategic thinkers. But it goes so much deeper than that. Think about this. Can an animal hold a grudge or hold a specific memory for decades? Finding out the answer completely dismantles this whole idea of the donkey as some foolish, emotionless beast of burden. Because the answer is absolutely yes. And the magic number here is 20. Studies show that a donkey can remember specific routes, hidden water sources, and even other donkeys they met over 20 years ago. Just imagine meeting someone once in middle school and perfectly recognizing them 2 decades later. Even wilder, they can identify specific human voices they haven't heard since they were young. This staggering long-term memory is exactly what helped ancient traders safely cross deadly deserts. Basically, when the humans got lost, the donkeys remembered the way home. And all that deep cognitive ability, it translates directly into deep emotions. Donkeys form really profound friendships. When they're separated from a companion, they can actually become depressed. Rescue centers frequently report that when a bonded partner dies, a donkey will experience intense grief. Sometimes they'll completely isolate themselves or even stop eating for days. They also show incredible empathy. There are documented cases of them staying right beside a sick companion for hours or protecting an injured farm animal from predators. Because they move so slowly and gently, unlike, say, an energetic dog or a nervous horse, they make amazingly effective therapy animals. They have this profound calming effect on children dealing with anxiety or emotional trauma. Which brings us to Section 3, Builders of Ancient Empires. Let's zoom out a bit and look at their massive historical significance. Long before we had trucks or trains or engines of any kind, we had donkeys. Going back over 5,000 years, they were the ones carrying food, water, stone, and gold across basically impossible terrain. In places like ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, archaeologists believe donkeys were absolutely crucial to the rise of early trade systems. Honestly, without them, early civilizations would have completely struggled to expand. They were valued so highly that in ancient Egypt, donkeys were actually buried in royal tombs alongside kings and nobles. The idea was that they needed to accompany the rulers into the afterlife. Entire empires quite literally trusted their survival to this animal. And just to illustrate how deeply revered they were, get this. Donkey milk was one of the ancient world's most luxurious beauty secrets. Legend has it that Queen Cleopatra herself bathed in donkey milk to keep her skin soft.
And the crazy thing is, modern science actually backs this up. Donkey milk is packed with vitamins and minerals, and its composition is surprisingly close to human breast milk. Even today, super high-end cosmetic companies use it in creams and soaps. But because a donkey produces way less milk than a cow, it is extremely rare and incredibly expensive.
All right, Section 4, the hidden superpowers. Physical traits. So we've got strategy, memory, emotion, and ancient prestige. Now let's look at a few rapid-fire physical traits that totally shatter that slow, goofy stereotype. First up, 60, as in 60 kilometers per hour. People always picture donkeys as plodding and sluggish, right? But wild donkeys can run at absolutely astonishing speeds. 60 kilometers per hour is faster than a lot of humans can even ride a bicycle. And right alongside that speed is the number 100, a donkey's famous super loud bray. It isn't just them being annoying. It actually acts as a built-in megaphone designed by nature to travel nearly 100 kilometers in open desert conditions. Because desert animals are spread so far apart, this bray serves as a massive, long-distance communication network. Also, remember how we said donkeys are independent thinkers who assess a situation instead of blindly panicking? Well, that trait makes them unbelievable guard animals. Farmers will literally put donkeys out in the fields with their sheep and goats because a donkey will fiercely and aggressively chase away predators like coyotes and stray dogs. There are even instances of donkeys fighting off wolves. They are fierce protectors. So the crucial takeaway here is that their bodies are just masterpieces of endurance. They carry heavy loads across dry regions with barely any water, balancing on these narrow, terrifying rocky paths. Their hooves are uniquely designed by nature for rough terrain. They're way more flexible and resistant to the desert than a horse's hooves. And because of this ridiculous endurance, they are absolute lifelines in remote areas around the world today. They transport school supplies, drinking water, and medical equipment to villages where roads simply do not exist. Which leads us to Section 5, a lifeline at risk, modern threats. We do have to ground this in a very serious modern reality. We need to look at the severe threats these animals are facing right now. Globally, the donkey population is under intense pressure. This is largely driven by the illegal skin trade, as well as overwork in developing regions. And this matters immensely because millions of working families depend on donkeys every single day for farming and transportation. Animal welfare groups are warning that losing donkeys would utterly devastate these rural economies. Because, let's be real, in many of these places, replacing a donkey with a truck or a tractor is financially impossible. They're this silent pillar of human survival that modern cities rarely ever notice. Which really brings us full circle to this realization. Maybe the donkey was never foolish. Maybe humans simply misunderstood it. Seriously, the next time someone uses the word donkey as an insult, remember the actual facts. This humble animal helped build the earliest human civilizations. It survives impossible, deadly landscapes that routinely break our machines. It remembers human voices and old friends for decades, and it fiercely protects the vulnerable. It leaves us with this final, profound question to ponder. What other quiet creatures are out there carrying the greatest stories? The world is absolutely full of hidden secrets hiding right inside the most ordinary things. If you discovered something new in this explainer today, make sure to hit subscribe because we are going to keep uncovering them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.